guys, it's Cece, and today I'm here to do an HP chat. HP chats are a video series that I do here on my channel all about Harry Potter and the various things that means. If you would like to see the rest of my HP chats, I have a full playlist you can check out. I will link it on the screen, but I have done a ton of different discussions and I absolutely love doing this video series. Sorry it's been gone for a couple of months. Shockingly, these are a little bit hard to plan and it just hasn't happened, but I should be back this year and I think I'm all set to go. So let's talk about what I'm going to talk about, and today I want to talk about the concept of legacy. This is one of the more broad topics I think I have done an HP chat on, but it's discussing one of the overall themes of this series and how I feel about it. So, the world of Harry Potter values legacy. It passes on names, it passes on belongings, and it passes on the pressures of the generation that has come before. But, while legacy is valued, it is also an almost constant battle that the characters in the series are forced to fight against. In my personal opinion, while legacy is considered so incredibly important to the world of Harry Potter, I also say that it's ultimately useless. I want to talk about a few different reasons I think this is, but one of them is something that is absolutely essential to the series, especially as the books go on, and that is the concept of wands. Wand lore is not talked about quite as much early on in the series, but what has been said from the very first book is that the wand chooses the wizard. And yet, despite this huge piece of information that we know from book 1, legacy somehow overtakes it in terms of importance. Neville Longbottom, my favorite character, uses, or at least attempts to use, his father's wand over the duration of the series in an attempt to be as good a wizard as he was. And yet, this is the very thing that is most likely preventing Neville from performing the level of spell he should be able to perform. Now, a note about wands. Of course it is possible for wizards to use a wand that is not their own. This is even proven in Deathly Hallows when Harry uses Hermione's wand for a long duration of time. However, it is also shown that that wand that doesn't belong to the wizard either doesn't work as well, or there's just less of a connection between wand and wizard, which again is shown in Deathly Hallows as Harry's able to perform magic, but it's not at the level that he was with his old wand, and it just doesn't feel right anymore. Also, yes, a wand can change allegiance, but usually this means that a wand has to have its allegiance won, which generally means that a wand has to be taken from another wizard. It has to be earned, as with Harry taking Draco's wand in Deathly Hallows. But Neville doesn't earn the wand, he doesn't take it, it just is his father's and he uses it. And this is part of a larger symptom of Neville falling victim to the people around him valuing legacy over the future, in that Neville is forced again and again to live up to the legacy of his parents and the power that they had. He lives in the shadow of two people who the Longbottom family view as better, stronger wizards. One of Neville's biggest stumbling blocks in the books is his self-confidence, which is something that he gets from how his family treats him. He isn't able to perform spells because he doesn't have the belief that he can. When he overcomes his issues with self-confidence or starts to conquer them, as with the Boggart in Prisoner of Azkaban, or when he starts to gain a lot of self-confidence with the DA in Order of the Phoenix, then he gains the ability to perform stronger, better spells. Both the wand and the overshadowing by his parents hold Neville back, and there's no telling how powerful a wizard he could have been without those things influencing his life and his schooling. There's actually a great essay about all of this on a blog all about Harry Potter theories called Harry Potter Theory, which I believe linked down below, but it basically covers a lot of Neville as a character and how legacy holds him back, and it's super interesting. I recommend it. Go check it out. I do want to mention that there is another character who kind of falters because he has a family member's wand instead of his own, and that is Ron. He uses his brother Charlie's wand for the first 2 books, but I want to emphasize that this is not because of legacy so much as a financial issue coming from his family, but it is another instance of showing how a character can have a family member's wand work, but it probably won't work as well as one that is your own. So it doesn't fit into the larger theme of this video, but it is something that kind of holds the standard for how wands work, so I wanted to mention it. Beyond belongings, I want to talk about a bigger thing that is passed on throughout the series, and that is names. Now, of course, passing on names has a larger cultural significance outside the world of Harry Potter, and I'm not saying all of us in the world should stop naming our children after significant family members and friends. However, I do think that the passing on of names within the Harry Potter universe has a historically negative negative effect. Now, while I am absolutely loath to do this, I am going to talk about Cursed Child, because I think that that play got a grand total of 3 things right, and the concept of names and legacy is one of those 3 things. In Cursed Child, the grand plot is that Albus and Harry have a really strained relationship because Albus is struggling to reconcile his father's legacy with the effect that it's having on his own life. It's why he and Harry continue to butt heads for the entire 4-act duration. But what I want to call attention to is a conversation between Harry and one of Dumbledore's portraits. In that conversation, Harry asks Dumbledore how he feels about the fact that Harry named his son after him, to which Dumbledore replies, "Candidly, Harry, it seemed a great weight to place upon the poor boy." And I'd just like to say that when Dumbledore is questioning your decisions as far as legacy goes, you've messed up. You've truly messed up. Later on in the play, when Harry and Draco are reconciling their differences, they start to discuss the ways in which they might have failed their sons. In that conversation, Harry says, "We've both tried to give our sons not what they needed, but what we needed. We've been so busy trying to rewrite our own pasts that we've blighted their present." I think Cursed Child got a lot wrong. You all know this. If you want to see my 30-40 minute rant video, you can go and check it out. But I do think that these conversations finally point out a problem that I have always had with the original series. It pointed out the ways in which this original Potter generation values the past over the present and the future. For years, I have complained about Harry naming his son Albus Severus. I have problems with it for many, many reasons. But one of those is that it is Harry valuing legacy over the emotional baggage he has with these 2 men, and that emotional baggage that he's now putting on his son by naming him after them. Instead of moving forward, it forces Harry to continue to live in the past and to continue to deal with an emotional relationship that he had with Dumbledore and with Snape, neither of which were particularly healthy emotional relationships. This may have changed in the years since, but I also don't think that J.K. Rowling really understands the negative impacts that the generation of the Golden Trio would have in insisting on passing on names. When asked constantly why Harry wouldn't name any of his children after Remus, she has said that it was because Harry was saving that name for Teddy, should he have a son of his own. The emphasis on remembering the dead in this series goes so far as to have characters saving names for children on the off chance that they should want to grow up and name their children after parents they never had, just because Harry did the same thing. But shockingly, not everyone is as wrapped up in pinning emotional baggage on their children as Harry is, so I don't really know where to go with that, except to point out that it's really weird that these adults are saving names on the off chance that future generations will also want to have this relationship with their kids. I think so much of the series is about sons, and it is almost exclusively sons, trying to escape the legacy of their parents and then doing the same thing to their own children. Now, of course, I think this is an experience that is true to life. I think the idea of escaping the view your parents have of you is a thing that a lot of people can relate to, but my problem is the way in which the series seems to think that living in the past is a positive. Draco spends the duration of 7 books alternatively trying to live up to his father's legacy and eventually trying to escape from it. He's bound by the past, which is why his emotional journey in Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows, and even in Cursed Child is so interesting. Harry is also constantly hounded by the legacy of his father and the different views of him. It's why he has such a hard time reconciling versions of his father that fit with Sirius and Remus's view, with Dumbledore's view, and with Snape's view of him. Neville cannot perform magic to his full power because his family wants him to be just another Frank Longbottom instead of existing as his own person. Ron's deepest fears and insecurities are all wrapped up in his fear that he's not going to be as good, as powerful, as loved as his family, especially his brothers. So much of the series is tied up in the past, changing it, reliving it, passing it down, etc. And while I think this is the way of storytelling, I also think it's a way of making pain and emotional turmoil a constant. To the characters of Harry Potter, nothing matters more than legacy. But I think in the end, that emphasis is doing nothing but dragging them constantly back to the past, instead of allowing them to finally move forward. Okay guys, that's it. That is kind of all I wanted to cover as far as how the Harry Potter series seems to view legacy. It really depends, I think, on if you view Cursed Child as canon or just the sort of thing that exists that we ignore most of the time. If we include Cursed Child, I really do think that the series is finally starting to break down legacy and living in the past in more healthy ways, but if we don't, that original series has a ton of issues. And I didn't even touch on, like, the classism aspects of this, the blood status aspects of living in the past. Those are all also huge issues to tie up into this. What do you think about how the Harry Potter series views legacy? Are there things that I'm ignoring wherein legacy is a bad thing, or do you think that I am not giving legacy its full due? Let me know down in the comments below. I look forward to reading them. And if you have an idea for a future HP chat, please let me know down in the comments below as well. I'm always looking for new ideas. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!